So formally, we would like to welcome all of you to our virtual Connecting and Promoting Women. How cool is it that we get this opportunity? 2 months ago, we would have never even considered this, and yet it is such an amazing space for us to stay connected. Probably more now than ever would be something I would want to offer. And so before we get started, or as we get started, we always have a centering moment. And so today for our centering moment, this is what I would like to offer. I would like for you to be aware that you are aware that you're breathing, okay? So as you take a breath in, remind yourself that I'm taking a breath in and that I'm taking an exhale. So you want to actually remind yourself that you're doing that. So let's do that for about 2 or 3 times. And as you do that, one more time, I would like for you to put out from 3 months from now, something that you look forward to, something that you are going to do as soon as you can get outside and be around other phenomenal women in person. What is one thing that you're going to do? And just take a moment, remind yourself that you're breathing, and look 3 months from now, and what is the first thing you're going to do, and watch that happen. And then put yourself in that moment. You've watched it, now you're putting yourself in that moment. And take that in. And then be aware that you're breathing one more time. And come back here. Welcome back. So, Karen, real quickly, did Dixie get on? Dixie's on?
I don't know.
Yes, she's on. She's under return to your power.
Yes, I'm here.
Yep.
Okay, good, Dixie. I just wanted to check on that. Thank you. So right now I'm going to invite Karen to come in and share our story and all of that sorts of things for our visitors. Unmute, Karen.
I have to unmute. You have to
Yes.
see and hear me. Okay. I think Heidi was going to go first though and talk about the membership drive. Heidi.
Yeah, so those that attended last month, things got kind of crazy at the end of the meeting because we went longer than expected. But we wanted to let everybody know that in February, Tracy Miller was our winner of inviting the most visitors to CPW. She had 4 visitors in the room. So congratulations, Tracy. You got your gift card. I think you chose Starbucks, if I'm not mistaken. We're not going to do this in March, but we are going to quantify the visitors in April. So we'll probably do another Zoom call in April, and we'll have a way of, if you invite a visitor, we'll know that you did that, and we'll have your name put in to see who wins with the most visitors for April. So congratulations, Tracy.
That's fabulous, Tracy.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm also dealing with people emailing me that they're having trouble getting in. So I'm trying to be a multitasker, and I'm going to have to let them wait for a minute. So for those that are guests and for those that come, we care about your dreams, and we believe that by inspiring dreams into action, we're the model to positively change the world. When we hear someone's dream, we actually validate it, and we can help through ideas, information, introductions, or just holding the space for somebody's dream. And our mission, hire that action and give voice and clarity to the dreams and create a ripple effect that impacts the social and economic well-being of our community. We have so many great stories that you guys are part of for that. So we want to make sure that you realize that this is really important to us. Your dreams are really important to the whole community of support around supporting you. part is that we do have upcoming events, and we will have a email going out with all the events that we're still going to host via telephone. Oh, I didn't do values. Okay, let's go back to values.
I'm sorry, I was answering text messages.
Yeah, we need someone else to help us with all the people that are still having challenges getting on. But we're doing this different today. We're not in what we call our space, but in a way, we are in our space on Zoom. We want to encourage people to love more and judge less. We want to encourage people to think that there is always a positive possibility. And I use this term I call heart smart. You know, people who have these huge hearts that are smart, and how do we make connections for them and collaborate? Pay it forward networking, always trying to find ways to serve others, energetic, listening deeply. You know, a lot of times we can be listening like on the surface, but sometimes if you really listen deeply, you will hear something in somebody's voice that you can help them with. Maybe it's that they're not having a great day, or maybe that they want to share a dream, but they're not, you know, they've been, maybe like in my world, there have been people that think that my ideas are crazy. Who's going to come to the mall to dream, you know? So, you know, being able to listen, and then just being careful of our language. Our words have power, and we can help somebody, or we can actually, I call it being an energy vampire. Our words can turn somebody's good day into a bad day, or a bad day into a good day. So these are things that we care about in our community, and it's taking I can't say taken us a long time to kind of quantify how we as a group feel, but this is some of our values. What's next, Heidi? Oh, we were planning to have on with our impact awards. We have moved them to September 30th, and fortunately we have our team, our same honorary chair, our same MC, Becky Boomerschleichel. If you're on, I did not get back with you, but Marty Casey is our MC again this year. So September 30th, 5 to 8 p.m. at the Business Lodge, we will be holding our impact awards.
And now the volunteer sheet.
The volunteer sheet.
That we'll email it.
Yeah. And that has like your collaborative board, the work right now, all of those things, we are going to do them, but we're going to do them by email. I mean, not by email, by teleconference or by Zoom. We're going to get better and better at Zooming. And then for those that remember Karen Garcia was one of our original cheers. We call them the launch ambassadors. And in her honor, she passed away in June. We random act of kindness cards at our lodge. You can pick them up. I love that Diane Carson says that when she gives somebody the cart back without them giving a quarter, she gives them a pay it forward card, pay kindness forward. So a way to play that out.
That's great. That's fabulous. So we are always open to having you sponsor Gateway to Dreams, Connecting and Promoting Women. And the way that you get to be a sponsor is that your investment is $100. Your return is priceless. This includes a pre-event and Facebook Live, as well as 3 minutes in front of us, your audience. So this week we are inviting Dixie Gillespie with Tessera Alliance to be our sponsor. And Dixie, if you want to take it over, that'd be great.
Great, let me unmute here. Did that work? And muted, right? Somebody's head go up and down. Yeah, okay, good. Let me see if I can share my screen. We're gonna, I think Tiffany said we can kind of do a screen inside of a screen. So let me share this and then see if you can still see me. And Heidi, it says this is gonna stop your screen sharing. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, we're just gonna share that. And
While you're doing that, can I ask you a question? I'm getting,
absolutely.
I've probably got 20 people, well, maybe not 20, 10 saying they can't get in. The one says this is a reoccurring meeting and isn't letting them in. Someone else said it's like Tracy Flo. I'm trying to get in.
I think what they're doing.
Is it possible they're using the old link?
Yeah.
Do you want to
So-
send, do you want to text me the correct link?
Yep.
And I'll start sharing that.
I'm in, Karen. I
That
hadn't
sounds like
registered properly.
I know whose voice that is, and they're busy.
Hi, beautiful.
I've got others though.
Now we've got some weird
Somebody's got some feedback.
text.
Okay.
Do you know, for a first time, this has been going so well. Like,
I agree.
you know, first time anything's a little scary.
Right,
Hey,
right.
baby. Can you get my headset?
Okay, if everybody else could mute except for Tessa or Dixie, that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't know how to mute.
And that's one of the tricks with these things is that, you know, you forget when your camera's on, you forget when your mic's on, you know, that's normal. So
Can you tell us how to mute?
down in the lower left corner, and sometimes, you know,
There
the
it is.
toolbar will disappear until you go back to your screen. So sometimes
I
you
will
just
go-
have to jiggle your mouse or something.
I'll
Got
go ahead and mute all. So Dixie, just watch. You might need to unmute yourself.
No, it shows that I'm still unmuted. So, you know, magic happened there.
Try now.
Dixie, you're muted.
Yeah,
There we go.
there we go. Okay, very good. I think that's got it. So when we plan to do this as we usually do, live and all together and, you know, sitting at tables and having fun with social media and all that good stuff, my plan was to say, hey, how many of you in the room consider yourself a leader? And then just make sure that all the hands went up. Well, okay, half the hands, because I wouldn't make you put up both your hands. To be fair, but to just really have you sit in that space of acknowledging your own leadership. I hadn't anticipated, and none of us had, how severely leadership would be needed by the time we met again. Leadership has been, it's been a theme for me since I started in the management in the do I have to say that? Back in the 80s. I taught my first leadership course about 20 years ago. I've been self-employed as a coach and consultant and since 1994. So it was about 20 years ago that I taught my first leadership course. And it was called When It's Your Turn at Bat. And of course, it was based on situational leadership. And right now we're in that situation where everybody needs to be a leader. It is our turn at bat. There is no sitting this one out. We're all in the rotation. So that kind of leads me to how Tessera came into being this year. It's actually a rebrand of a company that I formed with my partner, Philip Penrose, called Return to Your Power. And Return to Your Power is still active. It's my mission statement. It's what Philip and I do when we work together. But Tessera Alliance came into being to include other professionals in the space and people who provide some things that I don't provide. So our statement, so to speak, is to reintegrate, redefine, and re-engage leaderships and the act of leadership, and to really look at that collectively as a verb. You know, it was at least 20 years ago I started teaching leadership. I've been turning leadership kind of upside down, inside out ever since, and that's really what this is about. As a group, we address integrating the brain, body, mind, even the soul in leadership so that the leader is integrated within themselves. We also work with them on their individual growth, their strategy, the organizational growth, and the way that they execute. We take people through basically these phases. Activation, leadership activation, either individually or as a group. Setting direction, which of course is the goals and the desires of the group. And then integration, which is what a lot of people skip, is the integration of self and integration with the group that they're working with, and momentum. We find that a lot of organizations, once they get even 2 or 3 departments, start to silo. And not only are leaders not integrated within themselves, but they're not integrated into the organization. So that is part of what we do, using techniques from mindset coaching and straight, consulting, organizational consulting, weaving in some neurology, some somatic therapy, just all of the different modalities that bring this integration about. The other thing that you're going to hear me talk about is my own experiences, and part of our mission as Tessera Alliance is to allow people to be integrated, not compartmentalized in their work, and to make it so that we don't have to have these personal stories where we can't talk about our personal story inside of our professional life, because it's our personal story that brought us the strengths often that we have, and people want the strengths, they don't want the story, and we want to change that. So as this world changes, as we come through this crisis into what I believe will be a new economy, a new mindset, a new vibration, if you will, I think it's up to all of us to step up to, I'm going to skip that screen, but all of us as entrepreneurs, managers, entrepreneurs, founders, leaders, however we see ourselves as a leader, it's up to all of us to step into this integrated space and to face the challenges and to take advantage of the opportunities that will arise. And my determination is that Tessera Alliance is part of seeing that happen. Thank you.
Yay.
And Heidi, you can take that screen back now, because I'm looking at the screen. Oh, stop share. There, I know how to do this. There we go.
Thank you so much, Dixie. That's so informative, and it's such a great, to be reminded that we get to be the leaders. That's really cool. Thank you so much. Our next up, we're going to invite Michelle Petrolia up. She is our dream tank. She's going to, for the next 3 minutes, she is going to share with us. She is known as the bra woman, or the bra guru, or a stylist on steroids. She answers to all 3, and that simply thrills her. Michelle has a gift and passion for walking a woman through bra fitting like none she has experienced ever before. I can attest to that. Helping her find the exact size and shape of bra that fits her perfectly. She aims to be a resource for all questions relating to your bra and undergarment foundations. After all, it begins underneath those most stylish fashions. And she will go to no lengths to meet you, to get you into your perfect bra. Once again, speaking from experience. Please welcome Michelle Petrolia.
Thanks, Darlene. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And I apologize for my picture, my fabulous face not being up there on video. I've got a new hard drive and an old laptop, so I got to work on a video card, I guess, or the old-fashioned kind where you mount them to the top of your screen. So I have been part of Gateway to Dreams for quite some time with Karen. I mean, I don't even know, Karen. How long has this been going? Did you say that today?
2013 is when we started brainstorming. 2014 we launched.
Okay, so yeah, probably almost the entire time. I know most of you on the call, some of you have experienced bra fitting with me, and recently I separated from my full-time job, and I'd been doing this as more of a hobby and a side hustle, the bra fitting, and it's just such a passion. And so I'm ready to roll, and I'm kind of speaking today or coming to you all because most of you are in my community. This is one of my tribes, or one that I feel very close to, that I've had so much support. In fact, somebody on the call has even offered to be one of my fit models for my prototype. So my real reason for being on the call today is I would like to ask all of you to consider committing to me or getting behind me on this. I really want to do my own bra prototype. I have my developer and pattern maker just waiting in the wings. All I need to do is get online and order the fabric and all of my materials. And so, as all of you know, being any on the phone that are entrepreneurs or just got started, it takes a village, you know, to kind of make that happen when you're flying solo. And so I am looking to do some funding in the future, but today, if anyone would commit and find me under my company name, the Celebrate Her Style, I've got a business page on Facebook. You could get a hold of Karen Hoffman, and it would be committing to, once my prototype is together, would you be willing to purchase it? And it won't run $100, but we are kind of asking for $100 up front, or you could split it into a couple payments, just to kind of push this along. And I know that I belong to Fashion Group International, and it's getting ready to roll in St. Louis with a lot of great, we have a lot of entrepreneurs that are in fashion and a lot of in design. So that's really, I thank Karen, I thank the group. I'm all about the customer, all about making her feel supported, comforted, and being in a proper fitting, you know, undergarment.
Thank you, Michelle. I am so excited about your prototype. I've been following you for quite a while, as you know, and I am looking forward to seeing how all of that plays out. So thank you so much. And I will be liking you on Facebook and investing in what you have to offer for us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our next up is our educational speaker today.
Before we go there, can we go ahead and use anybody that's interested, even if you don't sure you want to do it, will this save this, Tiffany? The chatting is saved too?
I believe so. I'm also thinking though, when we email this out, we can send out all the links. So
Okay.
any links that Dixie wants to direct us to, any of the links that Michelle wants to direct us to, can we compile all those and include that?
That would be awesome.
That was exactly what I was thinking, is
Great.
we'll include that in the follow-up.
Can I ask a question? Michelle, you said go to your Facebook page and purchase it. Purchase what? What are we purchasing?
The $100, we just put that together. Karen and I kind of discussed that. And
like a GoFundMe? So it's just $100.
Right. It'll just kind of help back it to get started.
Okay. I know you sell Ruby Ribbon, and I didn't know if you had a bra ready that you were selling. I wasn't sure what it was we were purchasing. So
yeah, no, the Ruby Ribbon is just still, I'm an independent for them, and I do think that garment, you know, works and belongs in everyone's lingerie drawer. Okay. But as far as a bra, no.
Okay, so
not for everyone.
It's basically going to your Facebook and donating to help you get up and running. Is that what it is?
Right.
I would say it's investing. You're going to.
That's fine.
It's like crowdfunding for one of our members. Like, how can we help her take this dream into reality? And every time I've been in a room of women, we raise our hands saying we want a better bra. Mm-hmm. Get behind this and help her launch it.
Okay.
Not just donating, you will get a bra, and she's going to figure out other ways to support you. Pardon the pun. But,
okay.
And I want to do more custom work, Diane, as you know. I mean,
and I want to say, Michelle, you are amazing. I've used Michelle's services. If anybody, you know, wants a proper fitting bra and a wonderful experience. Yeah, I would.
What we're trying to do,
highly recommend.
Yeah, what we are trying to do with our Dream Tank is to let people do the hard thing. It was really, really hard for Michelle to say, "Please invest in me," and I want to say, you know, I'm one that I want to invest in her, and whoever else wants to, great. And if you don't, maybe there's someone else you know that is hard to fit in a bra. Mm-hmm. And that's all. Then we move on to the next part of our program.
Yes, right. Thank you. Yep. So Tiffany she's with Lone Orange Marketing, and she is going to be our educational speaker today. Tiffany Hockelman gets out of bed each morning for one purpose, and that is to help solopreneurs create an amazing client experience by knowing their own powerful brand identity. Starting out in 2010 as a virtual assistant and freelance graphic designer, Tiffany witnessed several businesses undermining their success with poor graphic design. She soon recognized that small business owners needed help delving deeper than just their visual identity. They needed to identify and cultivate their purpose. Driven by this mission, Tiffany has built a virtual team offering brand consulting and implementation. Her secret love for systems and spreadsheets ensures her clients can deliver on their brand promises. Please join me in welcoming Tiffany Hockelman.
Thank you. I can hear the virtual applause. Heidi, can you unshare your screen so they can see my face? I don't have any slides to share, so I'd rather be able to speak directly to you. Let's see, it should be showing right now I'm still seeing Darlene's face, even though it should be on mine. Let's see if we can get that.
Your face is showing on mine.
It is, okay, good. All right, very good. All right, well then we will proceed. So hello and greetings. Welcome to our virtual reality these days. So obviously with the things going on in the world, we have all had to adapt very, very quickly. This has all happened very suddenly to us. And in light of adaptation, we actually, my topic was supposed to be living your brand and helping you kind of figure out your brand and systematizing that and that sort of thing. And so last week, we decided to pivot that and make a change to really focus on how to run your business. But I do want to say, if you're interested in the idea of living your brand, connect with me privately. I actually have a pilot program that's getting ready to launch that I would invite any of you to if you are interested and if it's the right fit. So just reach out to me privately and we'll deal with that later. But right now, let's talk about the important topic of today, because everybody is running business 100% virtually. So it's important that we know how to maximize that opportunity and keep things going. And you know what? Honestly, that's the benefit of being a small business, right? Honestly, because we have the resilience. We have the ability to pivot on a dime, especially as a solopreneur or a small business. We can adjust quickly. We're not the big companies of the world who have a big battleship that they have to shift. We can pivot very quickly. So this is a great opportunity for us. And I want us to focus on that and focus on the positivity. So 10 years ago, actually last week was my 10-year anniversary. So I am now in the 30% club, the 30% of us who make it to 10 years. So I started my business 10 years ago. And as Darlene said, I started as a virtual assistant. And I went into business, I just wanted to do. I wanted to do the work. I wanted to help my clients. I did not want to manage people. The idea of managing people made my stomach hurt. I had my previous job, I had worked, I was the first full-time employee, and I had grown to overseeing 12 employees, and I hated it. So my mission when I started my company was to not have to do that. I wanted to just do the work. But I quickly hit my capacity. As you can imagine, there's only so much I can do. So I started figuring out how I could still run a company based on having people on my team, but not managing employees. Now, I was told by many people, oh, I've tried that. Oh, I tried to do a graphic design firm. Oh, I tried to do a branding firm and virtually, and it didn't work. It was too hard to manage people. It was too hard to manage contractors. Don't do it. It's too hard. Well, I dug in my little heels and I said, I'm going to figure out how to make this work. And I did. And the first thing that I did, I started off creating a vision of what I wanted my team to do. And the vision that I had for my company was that I wanted my contractors, I still don't deal with employees, all of my team are contractors and they're all over the country. I wanted my contractors to feel part of a well-supported and appreciated team, and I wanted my clients to feel like they had top quality service efficiently and effectively. So that was my mission. And so I made sure to bring on team members who fit that mission. Now we are working 100% virtually. I'm in my home office right now. My team, my assistants in Austin, I've got team members all over the country. I've got clients all over the country. So we are 100% virtual. And so I've learned a lot about how to run a business virtually. Now, some of you, this might be the way you operate the same way as well. Some of you, this might be a complete 180 because you're used to doing everything with people in a team, in an office. There may be somewhere in between where you do a lot in person, but you also do a little bit where this is still going to force you to kind of figure out some new things. And this really is a time of opportunity for us. This is a time for learning Zoom. If you're not comfortable with Zoom, like this is a great chance to learn that. Thinking about some of those things are maybe on your back burner that you haven't had time to do, updating your website, figuring out your social media, learning new skills, maybe even thinking about how to innovate how we serve our clients. How can we serve our clients better? Like this is an opportunity to do that. Maybe working on your SOPs. What are your systems in your business that nobody ever wants to do, but we need to do? And that's one of the things that I help my clients with on a day-to-day basis, is helping them figure out their systems so that their clients have an amazing client experience. Now is a great time to dig in and figure those kind of things out. So there are 3 things that I really want to talk to us about pivoting to work virtually. And in the circles that I run in, what I'm hearing a lot of is, okay, small business owners and especially solopreneurs, we need to pivot, we need to lean in, we need to focus, we need to innovate. However you want to think about this for your business. These are 3 things that we need to think about when we are running our business virtually. First thing is being productive. Like we have to keep being productive, even if we're sitting at home and we can't be out networking or doing the things we normally do. How can we still be productive? So finding ways, and I want to say, I'm not going to have a ton of time to dig into a lot of this. So I'm going to go very, very high level, but then at the end, I'll invite you into ways that we can do more of this together. So being productive, finding ways to get more work done virtually, making sure that your motivation stays up. So finding accountability partners, looking for ways to make sure that you can stay productive. If you need help finding a way to manage your team, like looking for those systems now that you can put into place to leverage software, to leverage technology, to manage your team. We use, for our team, we use Asana. I love Asana. I consider myself an Asana evangelist because I love Asana. It's free. I'm still running my team on the free version, and it's how my whole team stays in touch, plus some other softwares that we use. But also, as I mentioned before, innovation. How can you innovate? How can you, what do your clients need from you right now? How can you serve them right now? We're all here because we want to have an impact. We want to serve our clients. We want to make a difference in the world. That's what CPW is all about. So how can you pivot your business? How can you adjust what you're doing to serve your clients even more powerfully in this crazy time? And who knows, maybe it kind of even changes the way you operate your business, or it brings up something that you can now serve your clients with and sell. That's a pretty powerful thing, that this time of innovation can actually be a real benefit for your business. So those are ways to be productive. And as I mentioned, thinking about some of those back burner items, the things that you're like, oh, I'll get to that someday. Well, today's the day. Now you can start working that into your schedule, because we have a little bit more flexibility. The second thing, so that was being productive. The second thing is communication. How do we leverage technology? And I've heard, especially in the last week, people afraid of technology. And I get it. I totally get it. This idea of being on camera, this is not the way we are used to doing business. It's not the way that we're used to communicating with people. So here's our chance. We can either shrink back and just say, oh, I'm just going to wait this out and I'll deal with, I'll just wait till this is over and I can get back to the way I can do it. Or we can lean into this and figure out how to best communicate with this, how to leverage the strength of communicating virtually, how to overcome the challenges of communicating virtually. There are ways to make this work. And I'm excited that CPW is doing this meeting like this. And perhaps for the foreseeable future. We'll have to see. No one knows. So figuring out how to leverage that technology for you and your team. If you have a team, how can you communicate with these in video? How can you communicate using instant message? Another tool we use in my team is Slack. It's like an instant messaging system, but it's kind of like texting and instant messaging, but kicked up a notch, several notches actually. It's a great quick communication tool. So other ways to just stay in touch. And thinking about how to stay in touch with their clients. Like your clients are in the same boat you are. Your clients are struggling to figure out how to keep their business thriving, how to continue serving their clients. So how can you serve your clients? How can you reach out? Maybe it's just a phone call, just to be a listening sounding board. How can you reach out to your clients in this time? And are there things that you can do to stay in touch with them? I want to stress one thing, though, that especially in a virtual world, we need to remember the basic communication skills. The first one I want to talk about is the communication loop, and the idea that communication is a two-way thing. And when one person initiates communication, the communication loop is not closed until the other person acknowledges that. Once that acknowledgement happens, that communication loop is closed. That person may initiate a new communication loop, but it needs to be closed. So how does that show up in a virtual world? Making sure that when somebody communicates to you, that you acknowledge that you got it. So in an email, in a Slack message, in your project management system, making sure that they know that you got it. Because what happens, and I would bet that everybody has had this experience, that you send an email or you send a voicemail or you send something and crickets. And you don't know. So then you're left wondering, did they get it? Did they not like the message? Do they not want to do what I asked them to do? So you're left wondering. So we've got to remember that when somebody communicates to us, to acknowledge that. So at least even if it's in the email, yep, got it. I'll get back to you. Even if I can't do it right now, to just acknowledge that. On Asana, there's a little place where you can just like the comment or like the task. All that does, and I stress this with my team, all that does is lets me know that they got it, and I don't have to worry about it. Did they miss something? So that's an important thing in communicating in a virtual world, because you can't get when you're in the office or when you're with the people you work with, where you can say, hey, did you get that? And they say, yes, you're done, right? Okay, got it, darling, thank you. So, and then when we're on video, paying attention to our nonverbals, paying attention to how we're communicating and how we're appearing on video, just those little things to think about, thinking about your background, thinking about your lighting, thinking about your sound. All of those things are new elements to our communication. So just paying attention to that. I'm actually going to be doing a Facebook Live on that specifically tomorrow. So join me for that if you'd like. The third thing is just staying connected, making sure networking. Kudos, high five to everybody for showing up today. So thank you for showing up today and networking, even in this crazy world where there's a bunch of, where I feel like Brady Bunch, where I just see a bunch of squares of people, but we're still here, right? So we're still seeing names, we're still hearing voices. You can still look for people that you want to connect with. You can still find them on Facebook, on LinkedIn, still find ways to network. So don't shy away from those virtual networking events. Like, lean in. This is where we can still make some really great connections and showing up to people. And again, just finding ways to connect with clients and teams, thinking outside the box. What are some creative ways to do that? All right, so hopefully all that's helpful. I know this is very quick, so this is really helpful. I'm seeing some comments. I'll try to respond to those. Sorry, I wasn't watching while I was talking, but I do want to invite you. I actually created, again, quick pivot on Sunday night 2 weeks ago. I was like, what can I do to help? I was feeling so frustrated, as I'm sure we all were. And so I created a Facebook group called How to Run Your Business Virtually. And so I want to invite you all into that. As soon as I stop talking, I'll share that link in the chat. And it's a link. You'll go sign up and you'll get an invitation to the Facebook group, and you will get a link to fill out a survey so that I know what your needs are, so that I can customize the training. Currently, all the training that I have planned is already in there, so you can go right in and binge watch. They're all just short videos. And it talks specifically about how to use things like Zoom and Asana and Slack and Dropbox and Google. I even did a bonus one on Google Forms. And if we start engaging more in the group and there's other things, I'll be happy to do other trainings. But it's just a place for us to support each other in figuring out how to run our business virtually. So thank you very
Tiffany.
much.
Thank you. So for if you guys, yeah, let's give her a hand.
Thank you. Thank you. The virtual applause. I love it.
So if you guys have questions, I know Tiffany's going to be watching in the chat. So please put your questions in there, and I'm confident in speaking for you, Tiffany, that you will answer them.
Absolutely. I will go do that now, and I'll be happy to connect with people afterwards and in the Facebook group to help however I can.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so very much for your timely information.
Thank you.
So next up, we're going to have, you're welcome. Our next up, we're going to have our personal story speaker. It's Dixie Gillespie. She might sound familiar because we did just hear from her with Tessera Alliance. Dixie believes that every human carries the power of alchemy, and her personal story is all about transmuting our lived experiences into personal truth and power. Raised in a cult by controlling but loving parents, she describes her childhood as that of a joyful dreamer growing up in an idyllic countryside with intermittent nightmare scenes. Those nightmares included physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. Trigger warning, please know that you will be lovingly supported but may be offered some challenges for personal hearing during this conversation. She shares with us how she learned to turn the bitter memories into blessings and what truths have supported her in her quest to live as her highest, best self. Please welcome Dixie.
Thank you, Jolene. Couple of things before I start. First, I want to remind everybody, I know that you're used to coming to these meetings in person and having a wonderful breakfast and experience, but we're also used to tossing our $15 into the kitty in order to do that. And so taking these online comes at a cost to Gateway to Dreams and to connecting and promoting women. And everybody's worked so hard to make sure that we can still connect in spite of everything that's happening. So I just want to remind everybody that there is a donate button on the gatewaytodreams.org site. And I think we should all take advantage of that and throw a little bit into the kitty. Since we can't be together, we can't do it in person, we can't do the change for change on the table and all the things that we usually do at meetings to support the people that support us. So I just wanted to put that reminder out there, especially for those of us who usually meet in person, and that's part of the support that we want to give to Gateway to Dreams and to Karen and to all the dreams that she personally supports and has launched and keeps flying somehow with her indomitable will. So also wanted to say thank you to Tiffany for putting this together and for sharing. And there's so much of what you said, Tiffany, that just really resonated with me. And then the third thing that I want to say is this terrifies the heck out of me. And it's not even the video part. So as Darlene said, and I do want you to take that trigger warning to heart. And if this becomes difficult for you, please hold yourself in love and let us know how we can support you, because I know sometimes these stories really reactivate some things for other people, whatever their experience. So I'm sensitive to that. It's one of the reasons it took me a long time to be willing to talk about this story for myself. I don't like people to feel sorry for me. And I also was sensitive to the fact that how people view me became very different when they had heard these stories. So when Karen said, will you please step up and tell your story? I said yes, thinking I was going to be in this room of people I know, and the people I don't know are still there for a common reason, and that there would be that support. And so when she said, we're gonna do this online, I had to revisit what fear really means and what I'm supposed to be noticing. And the email that I sent out yesterday to my email list was all about fear and how fear is an invitation to notice. So I noticed a lot of things in preparing for this. And one of the things that I noticed is that I believe that when we cannot possibly understand what's going on out there, that what we need to do is to sit back and notice and understand what's going on in here. And I've been doing a lot of that. I think a lot of us have. And at first I thought this might be the wrong message, you know, for this time. Do we really need to be talking about these things when we're facing the kinds of challenges that we're facing right now? And then I realized maybe it is exactly the time, because we're all in a state of trauma to some extent. And that trauma is always bringing up old trauma. So this is an opportunity for us to notice old trauma that's coming up and to let that heal, because we heal through, I believe, through discovering our truth. Our truth is what guides us when we're choosing, when we're speaking, when we're taking action. It's our truth about ourselves and everything else. So talking about the power of living in your truth is perhaps more timely than I thought it would be. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I feel like there's one truth that's coming through very strongly for me right now, and that is that we are all being called to speak our truth to a wider audience and to be part of this healing that the world needs right now, has needed for a long time, but needs more urgently now. So here I am, and this is my truth as I understand it so far. When I was 14, my father beat my head repeatedly against a plaster wall. I could have died. I came through that event with 2 black eyes, found out later a broken nose. It wasn't the first time. My father had what was kindly called an anger management problem, but he'd recently been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and that brought a lot of his frustration, anger, and fear to the surface. And so this was certainly the worst of the beatings. I was sent the next day to a school event, a forensics tournament. It's basically competitive speaking. So imagine that I go to a school where I only know a few people, the students and teachers that I traveled with on the team. And instead of a Saturday of speaking and kind of networking like we are right now, getting to meet kids from other schools, I came in hair to my waist because I was raised in a cult where you weren't allowed to cut your hair, in a dress and 2 black eyes. I looked like I had a domino mask on. And the poetry that I was doing that year was a selection of 3 poems on war. And the first one started, Octun, Octun, I am war, remember me. And I doubt people forgot it, but they certainly didn't know how to handle it. So that was Saturday. On Sunday, I went to what we called fellowship meeting. In the cult that I was raised in, we didn't have a church. We met in homes. So small group of people sitting around giving their testimony and saying prayer. And these people had known me literally since I was born. And I went in with my 2 black eyes and nobody would look at me. And we went to gospel meeting later that afternoon. Again, more people from surrounding communities who had known me all of my life, and nobody would look at me. And I went to school on Monday and nobody would look at me. Until finally about 10:30, I was called into the principal's office. There were 2 ladies from what we called SRS back then. And they wanted to know what had happened, and I told them. And they wanted to know what I thought they should do. And they said I had 3 options. They could go and talk to my father. I didn't expect that to go well. They could take me out of the home and put me in foster care. I knew some people that had been put in foster care. It wasn't something I wanted to submit myself to. Or if I thought I could handle it, they could just let me handle it. And I chose to handle it. That wasn't the beginning, and it wasn't an end. It was an apex. It was a point from which I had to choose my truth. And at that point, my truth was that I had no power. I had no purpose, at least no purpose that I could fill, because I had no power. And there was no reason for me to remain on this planet, which was heavy thinking for a 14-year-old. By the time I was 15, I was ready to exit the planet. That fall, I made my first attempt. I found out that 15-year-olds are harder to kill than you might think. The body is extremely resilient. So that attempt didn't work. In the fall, I tried taking most of a new bottle of aspirin. My parents didn't keep prescription meds in the house, so that was the only thing I could get my hands on. I found out that when you throw up aspirin, you taste it in your nose. Your nose isn't supposed to be able to taste, but you can actually make that happen. I don't recommend it. My mother, in foresight or maybe secretly knowing what I'd done, because aspirin has a very distinct smell when you throw it up, pumped me full of liquid Jello. And I will tell you, when you throw up aspirin plus liquid cherry Jello, that isn't pretty either. But it saved my kidneys, and I didn't die. So I was going to have to choose a different truth, or I was going to have to try harder, right? And a little book came into my life about then called Illusions, Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah by a guy named Richard Bach. And one of the things that that book said is, here is a test to find out whether your mission on earth is finished. If you're still here, it isn't. So I was still here. That way. I tried to be normal. I tried not to talk about my experience. I tried to pretend that the people I was going to school with had never seen me with 2 black eyes. I went to college, met a guy. My father's cancer came back in the bone. This was back in 1985. There isn't much we can do for bone cancer now. There was less we could do then. So I went home to nurse my father. And a lot of people, or at least a lot of the people who knew my history with my father, wondered what I thought I was doing. How was I going to go home and take care of this man that I had this history with? And it really wasn't hard. I learned so much about compassion during that time, and I learned a lot about myself. I learned that the truth of myself is that when I opened my mind and my heart, even if I couldn't understand, even if I didn't know the facts behind what somebody else had gone through, that I could find compassion for the person, even at the same time, I made up my mind to never allow them to hurt me again. And now my father couldn't hurt me. He couldn't even hold a pencil. We resolved things during that time. We never talked about what had happened. He never said, I'm sorry, not for that. But we resolved things during that time. After he passed, I went back to Lawrence, Kansas, and to need to go back to school. And the suicidal thoughts started coming up again, except this time they weren't thoughts that came into my conscious mind, because I was being very careful about what was in my conscious mind. And this is one of the things that happens when we try to suppress our experience. What happened is I started kind of trancing out and coming to myself in precarious situations, like perched on the outside of a balcony about 20 floors in the air, and stepping out in front of a bus that's about to pull up to the curb. And so it was suggested that maybe I should see a therapist, which I did. And the therapist made one right move and one wrong move. After talking with me for some time, she said, you have the classic symptoms of an incest victim. If she hadn't used the word victim, we might have gotten somewhere, but I've never identified as a victim, so that wasn't a conversation I was willing to have. I did try to have the conversation with my mother in a phone call. I said, this is what my therapist said, and I repeated those words. You have the classic symptoms of an incest victim. And if there's any sound that I remember, is the sound of my mother's held breath. She held it for a while until I said, of course I told her that never happened. And then she let it out. We never talked about that again. But was there truth in it? Yes. That began when I was 8. I remember the first time, clearly, my father coming to my room. The other times are still an amalgam. They're just multiple memories mashed up into one recurring nightmare. But the truth was, I didn't dare tell anyone, not as a child, and not even as an adult. Because there's something about saying, you know, this happened to me. Of course, That's because other people have their truth. I worked with a PhD psychologist. Her truth was that I was going to need closure and that I was never going to be able to heal because I could not have closure because my abuser was dead. I tried to tell her, I have closure. I don't need more closure. Everything that needed to be said was said between the lines. But her truth was that couldn't be true and that I would, in fact, never be whole because I had missed that opportunity. I had a therapist coach who told me that most people with my history would have severe mental health problems. They'd be incarcerated, they'd have committed crimes, possibly become an abuser, or they'd be dead. She thought those were my only choices. And I assured her that wasn't true. That might be true of most of the people that she met, but there were legions of us that no one would ever know were survivors because we didn't fit any of those boxes that she was trying to put me in. I had a good friend and client. His relationship with me ended over the Me Too movement because he was worried for himself and his sons. And I said, I understand that, but we have to start listening to women. And he said, no, we couldn't afford to listen to women because women lied. And I said, when I was raped, I didn't tell anyone because I was afraid no one would believe me. And he shrugged. He just shrugged because my story and his truth was a threat to himself and to his sons. So there are lots of truths. People will share their truths and they will show their truths. I heard, you're in denial, you're dissociating, you're living a lie, you're not really healed, you're not really okay. When people find out about your history as a survivor, you go possibly even above average powerhouse to being seen as fragile, possibly volatile. You're a potential problem, so we hide our truths. Or there's worse, once you tell people your history and they can see you for the powerhouse that you are, then you're special. You're an anomaly. I've been called a mystic, an indigo child. Nope, I'm just human. As a human, I have learned to live from a place of peace and joy. So I want to share truths that have helped me in that living. A little bit about compassion. So compassion to me is not acceptance or tolerance. I can set boundaries and I can hold them while I'm in a state of compassion. I believe that until we have compassion for all victims, not just the ones that we are not toward or who are easy to love, but compassion for all victims will not reduce the suffering of the world. Not for love. We're only going to of the world. These are my own. They're only what I understand so far. Other people are going to live out of their truths. It's not my place or my right to say that their truths are not just as valid for where they are on their path as my truths are for where I am on my path. The other thing I learned is that truth is rarely evident in the facts. Clear choices we make. So speak from a place of truth. Everything that's not for you, that wasn't intended for you, falls away. Bright wound affected and it's just bearable. It's agony to get rid of that flesh. It happens so you can, but sometimes that falling away is more like a sweet release, like a weight removed that tying you to some muddy ground. And you remember, oh yeah, I can fly. Living out of a place of truth also attracts you. Keep it away. I know, I've tried. Think about that when you choose to stand in your truth, to speak from your truth, live from your truth. The thing that I've learned is truth is not its an excuse. It's because it's true divinely true. I know truth is the greatest elevator and augmenter gift. The reason I was always afraid to share my story is that I didn't want to profit from pain, not mine or anyone else's. But I've learned that when people pay me for something that I've not been able to, well, they're not paying me from, they're paying me for my joy and transmuting joy. A few years ago, I was so ready for sleep, and a truth came to me in the form of a poem. It would not shut up until I wrote it down. Seek absolutes or axioms. What you'll find there is comfort. Truth found in comfort, joy. Seek not your truth. Find there is provisional acceptance. Truth isn't found in acceptance, but in singularity. Seek not your truth in scientific canon. What you'll find there is limitation. Not your truth in philosophic doctrine. Find there are rules for living. Truth isn't found in rules for living. You would have baked wild berry. He's reaching his wide fruit that teases you, tempts you, taunts you from behind a curtain of glossy leaves. That
Dixie, your voice is cutting out. So.
Oh, but Farzana, I can hear you so well. I recognize your voice anywhere.
Yeah, but your voice. Yeah, your voice cut off a lot of time in last couple of minutes.
Yeah,
so maybe if people can turn off their videos, and then if you can say your poem again.
Darlene, do I have time to do that? I know you're trying to run a tight schedule.
Well, I think that I would love for you to get that to Heidi and let her send that to all of us when she sends out, I think that she was going to do an email. I think I would love that because I think that your internet is unstable. We're all muted. I think Tiffany has us all muted. Karen,
Okay.
do you want to jump in on that?
I have learned that if we turn off our videos also, that helps in the volume or the load on the system or the call.
And Farzana, you're probably right. We have, I think, 99 people on, and I think our maximum is 100. So we're probably really maxed out in our Zoom room. So let's do that. In fact, I'll just, when we wrap this up, I'll just do a quick and everyone. So, just if you can hear me at all, I'll wrap up very quickly.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, Farzana, thank you for jumping in. And it's good to hear your voice, dear. So after that was finished, which it just absolutely kept me awake, I didn't know what to call it. And in the poem, you'll see that I'm talking about looking for berries. And Philip said, isn't there a word for when you go looking for berries? And I said, well, the old-fashioned word is you go berrying. Like you take your back out berrying. And he said, well, why not call it truthing? So the title of the poem became Come Truthing, an invitation. And that's how Come Truthing was actually born. It will be a podcast in the very near future so that I can share some of these truths and some of what I've gleaned in what I've been taught and what I just know from my personal story and observation. But right now there is a Facebook group, again, like Tiffany's very recently launched, that you can find on Facebook. I'll send you a link. But it's just under Come Truthing. So feel free to join the group. join the conversation about how we integrate our lives and our stories and our truths. So if you're ready to seek that truth, jump on that group, because I think it's time that we all went truthing, so to speak, together.
Thank you, Dixie. What was the name of the Facebook group again?
It's called Come Truthing.
Come Truthing.
Yeah, and I will send that. And I saw, Richard, I just saw your note. Yes, I will make sure that the poem is available to you in the follow-up email. I'm happy to do that. Thanks so much for listening.
Dixie, I am speaking for everyone, probably. I am so profoundly affected by your truth.
Thank you.
And I love that you name it as your truth. I recently was having a conversation with somebody who was pushing back on the truth and my truth. And it ended up being a great learning experience for me. And I think that you just allowed that to go deeper for me. And I so appreciate that. And I think that we will all learn from your story as always being a victor. Sounds like you've never placed yourself in a space of victimhood. And we have so much more to learn from you. So thank you so very, very much for sharing with us.
Thank you, Jolene.
Thank you. So we're going to just take a couple breaths to recover from that. You know, go back to that present breath moment. And just be aware that you're breathing. And I think that you'll feel that beautiful sensation run through your body. Any questions that you have, you can connect with Dixie, or you can put them in here in the chat, and she can certainly do her best to answer them, and as well stay connected to you as well. So thank you. Next, we would really like to see if anyone has any kind of member shout outs or anything to share with us, how Gateway to Dreams has helped you, who you are as a person, and anything like that. So if you would like to be one of those people, just put it in the chat and I will call on you quickly, and you can unmute. But we have so many testimonials that people can help. Jana, do you have something that you would like to share with us? Or not? Well, I just stand before you saying that Gateway to Dreams today has profoundly affected me and who I am as a human being, and emphasis on being, if you will. And I appreciate that. Let's see. Please take down the slide. Okay. If we can switch to the next slide. I'm not controlling that. I think Tiffany or Heidi is. There we go. So we're going to invite Karen to have a couple moments here.
I think I'm going to step in and talk about just real quick. Dixie, thank you so much. And Tiffany also. So I'm just real quick going to go through the need for volunteers, and this is our board, and of course Karen Hoffman, our executive director. The next slide is some of our amazing volunteers. It's not all of us, but it's the few that seem to step up the most here recently, but we're always looking for volunteers. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for attending. I think this is probably the largest group we've ever had. And I hope everyone really found a benefit of being here today, because I know it meant a lot to me and to, I'm sure, everyone on this meeting. Our immediate volunteer needs, of course, are impact awards that we've just moved to September. So now we have more time to kind of get that all in line. But if anybody wants to help with impact awards, there's time to join the committee, and I know we can put you to good use with that. I'm looking for someone to help with the CPW PowerPoint. So if anybody has that kind of technology and wants to help. And then, of course, with the Zoom meeting coordination here going forward. I don't know that we have any experts in our amazing volunteers as of right now. Tiffany, I know, thank you so much for stepping up today. It's been extremely helpful. I've learned a lot, but if someone can actually step up and help us with that, that would be much appreciated. So reach out to me or Karen and let us know. I quickly wanted to send a thanks out to Cindy Dooley and Karen Jenkins. They helped clean and organize the coffee and copy area at the Business Lodge the last couple of weeks. It looks amazing. I know we can't see it for a while, but when we get back to the Business Lodge, it's there. So thank you, both of those women, for helping us. We don't have our CPW cards today, but again, invite people to come and visit. We have our membership drive of 2020 Connect 4 challenge to invite 4 or more like-minded colleagues or friends. Bring the most visitors in April, and you will win a gift card to Starbucks or Panera and the Contacts, Connections, and Collaboration book that Karen had co-written. It's going really, really well. Last month, we had 14 visitors from 7 members, and we've had 8 new members join in the last 3 months. So we're definitely on the upward swing, and I'm super excited about that and to actually understand those metrics and how it's helping Gateway to Dreams. The last thing I wanted to talk about today is to introduce our 2 newest members. Sheva Pincus with Natural Perfuming with Sheva has joined along with Michelle Petralia for Celebrate Her Style, who you guys heard speak earlier. So welcome both of you. We have your welcome packets. Once the mall opens, we will be able to get those out to you. We'll either mail them or invite you in to get those done and have Karen Jenkins take your picture. We're slowly working on our Facebook and starting to introduce our members that way. So be patient with us, but we're getting there. And I think that's all I'm going to talk about. Just again, thank you guys for joining. I can't tell you how much this means to our community. And Karen, I'll turn it back over to you.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. So I do want to just say another thank you to Dixie, because she started this journey with me to do it to the group inside the mall, a safe space. And she stepped into the internet and the world. And for what she shared, I just hold you with such, I don't even know the right word that I want to say, but I know that what you shared will be helpful to others, and thank you for being brave. Thank you for feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I normally have a quote. I don't have one today. If there's anybody that has a quote that they would love to share, the one that I might normally share doesn't feel appropriate today. So does anybody want to raise their hand?
May
Oh,
I?
Here's one.
I would love to share something that's kind of held me to my highest truth recently.
Okay.
And it's something that I tell myself often. How you show up determines what shows up for you.
That is beautiful.
That is beautiful.
We have another quote that I did not realize Heidi was already ahead of me on. But anyone that does not believe in miracles is not a realist.
Amen.
I didn't like the negative connotation in it, but I felt with this time in the world, miracles are going to happen. And it's a struggling time in the world right now, but great things are going to come out of it. And I think today is one of those testimonies.
Yep.
What we see first, Gateway to Dreams, is that our community will continue. We will continue reaching out to support anyone and everyone with their dreams and their goals. And we will do it in whatever manner that we can. I do feel like I'm a person that believes in God. So I do believe that it was a God thing that Tiffany was our presenter for this month, and she could pivot and share ways for us to stay connected as entrepreneurs and as, you know, people in community. Please take advantage of her Facebook group. It is so on track with where we are right now if we do not want to isolate ourselves. And I believe that we are given another opportunity to reach people and to touch people that we might not have. We can see this just from today's Zoom call, the people that will be affected by all that Tiffany shared that will help them in their business, and the personal lives of people that will be impacted. As Darlene said, she's already been impacted by Dixie's story, as I believe all of us will have some kind of an impact from that. So we are still committed to helping you. And I have to give a shout out to Heidi. Without Heidi Maxwell, so many things would not happen. And every volunteer matters. And Heidi helps me corral the wonderful energy of volunteers to make things happen. I think Ian,
I have something that's kind of appropriate for today, if you let me read it. It's out of Zig Ziglar's inspiration book. It says, when you believe and think I can, you activate motivation, commitment, confidence, concentration, and excitement, all of which relate directly to achievement.
Yeah.
Amen. Yep.
I think there were, Heidi, can you read some of the other quotes that were given to us? There were 2 or 3, I think. I can't see them right now.
Are they in the chat?
Yeah.
Mine aren't popping up either. Darlene, do you see them?
In the chat?
Yeah, Angie Monco has got a quote by Louise Hay. All is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this situation, only good will come. Thank you, Angie. That is just beautiful. Let me look and see here what else. Say what you mean and mean what you say, because they care. Those that care don't matter, and those that matter don't care. Every day may not be good, but there's something good in every day. Amen, Keisha. So those are some of the quotes that are in there. Let's see, Michelle, dreams uncover possibilities. Possibilities create ideas. Ideas offer hope, and hope inspires action. Thank you, Michelle. I love that. So I think that this has just been such a beautiful time to spend together. And I was thinking about, I said this the other day, that I remember on 9/11, you know, people who never knew that they were heroes, so to speak, right? Showed up as a hero. And I think that this is our time. Maybe it's your time to show up as that hero in somebody's life. And most times we didn't even know we had it in us, because then we step into our authenticity. And I think both Tiffany and Dixie and Michelle, you as well, all show up as heroes for us today. Michelle through your vision, Tiffany through your education, and Dixie certainly through your life experience to allow us to grow as well and find our truths and live our truths. So I just really appreciate that.
We do have, am I muted or unmuted?
You're good.
Okay, I've got to get mute, unmute. Which one means what? This is new to me still. We do have a song, and I don't know how weird you will feel singing this, but I love the song that Pookie created back in 2014. And if any of you, if we unmute it, all of us, and sing it together, I'd feel embarrassed myself, but what do you guys think? Are you up for it?
Sure, as long as I can mute and sing.
No, I'm just saying
okay, is Pookie on?
Huh?
Is Pookie on?
I don't know.
Pookie, are you here?
Supposed to be on. But
I think enough of us know it that we can do it. Let's give it a shot. This is going outside of our comfort zone.
That's
yes.
Exactly
what
outside
we're all
my
about.
comfort zone. Okay. I am responsible. I
am responsible.
I am responsible to leave the world a better place. Maybe we're not so good at this.
Well,
maybe we should all mute and sing it.
Yeah, maybe we should mute and sing it. But we can at least read the words, because looking around the world and what do I see? So many things in a state of need. Pain and suffering all around me. I won't stand by and just let this be. Everywhere, everyone wants to be free. Some look around and say, it's not me. How can they close their eyes and not see? It all comes down to me. We're reliable, accountable, dependable, invincible, capable, incredible, responsible. We are, and we're making a difference. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to our MC, Darlene. Thank you to everyone that got on the call. See you next month on Zoom.
Got it. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Fantastic
Bye.
day.
Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Karen. See you soon. Thank you guys. Great meeting, you guys.
Great job,
Great
guys.
meeting. I'm so happy.
We did it. We did it.